The Ups and Downs of Raw podcast with Skye and Kiko. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Kiko. How are you, Kiko?
I am fantastic. Thank you. And hello, everyone.
And we talk about the reality of Raw, like the truth, the ups and downs. A lot of people think it's just like you eat raw and your whole life comes together, but a huge part of why it comes together is the ups and downs. And that's what we want to talk about. So we are going to dive in today into the cost of raw foods. And how that came about is Kiko, watches what I buy and asked how much the food I buy costs. And we're going to talk about that because to some people and a lot of people, it can seem really expensive. What are your thoughts on the expense of raw foods, Kiko?
Yeah, we have to put things into perspective. I think when melon is in season here in Japan, and everyone is so surprised. Like when I buy melon here, they say, "Wow, that's so expensive." But um, health is so important. I know how I feel when after eating this beautiful, delicious, juicy melon. So I'm so happy to invest in my health. But for beginners, there are so many ways to make this raw vegan lifestyle so affordable. And I think in the beginning, I was depending a lot on cheap products like bananas are always available all year round, and it's quite cheap. Pineapples also, like citrus, like if you buy fruits in season, it's quite cheap. So I was on a budget side because I was coming from this fruits being expensive. But then I realized I don't go out to drink, or I haven't bought clothes for a long time. I haven't purchased makeup products in years. I don't know when was the last time I purchased it. So yeah, you have to look at it into perspective. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think we chose this topic today on raw food in budget because Sky was sharing on, her weekly grocery. Um, right, you were sharing on what you purchased, and you
Yep.
usually go to farmers market and get most of your products throughout the week. And I
Yes.
was really curious, like you living in Sydney, how much would it cost? I thought that would be so expensive, but you gave me
Sure.
the number. It was not expensive at all. So you want to share that, Sky?
Sure. So first off, I I want to just take it back a bit before we share how much I spend on my groceries each week. So when I started this lifestyle, I had no true support from family. I was at rock bottom. I had my disability pension. I had a couple thousand like behind me, but I was only getting a certain amount every couple of weeks. And that first off had to go to rent. Most of the food in my apartment was donated and the clothes I had, to be honest, were a mismatch of because I hadn't really been out in years. There was a year I got well, but besides that, the clothes were a mismatch of my sister and my mum's, which had kind of been given to me. And I had to buy food and pay for my phone and internet. So I didn't have a computer. My computer was broke. I know I had a computer. I did have a computer, but I had to pay for internet and phone. So when I worked out the raw foods worked, what was really strong in my mind was I had to do everything to stay on the raw foods because it was life or death for me. So I spent everything on rent, my phone bill, and food. And I was spending, and remember, I had no storage stuff. So I had to start from scratch with like nuts and seeds and any spice or apple cider vinegar. I didn't have it already in my cupboard. I had to really like buy some of these things. I was finding at the start I was spending every couple of days, so every about 2 to 3 days, about $40 to $50. So what's that? Like that's $20 or like $17 or something every few days. And I was buying everything I wanted. Now, that in a week on top of my rent was all my money gone. But I also let go of, I wasn't really using it. So I did have a makeup bag. I ended up just getting rid of all of that because I wanted to get rid of everything. So I spent around about the same, especially at the start, to get myself well. And I did not pay for nails, makeup, hair. Like, you've got to know your priority, right? So we're talking about someone, I had no other support. It was disability payments, and they were rent and food, rent and food, rent and food. I can't think of anything else that was paid for. Everything else, if I wanted something, was going to probably have to be donated somehow. Because that's where I knew my health was. Now, what I did know is, because I felt so good, imagine what I can do. Imagine if I keep investing, I will get off disabilities. I'll be able to work. In fact, I worked in disabilities, helped other people. And then when you make money, you get to then go to organic markets. But even when I was going to the organic markets and you start to spend more, is in the seasons, if you buy, like when things are in seasons like grapes, you get organic grapes here for like $5-7 a kilo. I've done 3 weeks on grapes. I mean, what's that? You can get like 10 kilos in a week. That's $70. That was like, so I've spent $70 in a week if I get just all grapes. Lettuce is cheap. Lettuce is always cheap. But I wasn't doing that because I needed to stay on raw. So I think when you first go raw, why are you raw? Are you raw to make recipes, or you're raw to save your life? So I think that's really important to know, that how I started. And my goal as I got better and I worked more was spend money on what I want. At the moment in Sydney, please know that Sydney, last time I checked, I don't know the statistics now, but Sydney was the fourth or maybe first most expensive place to live versus what we make. So it's not really saying that it's the most expensive place in the world, but versus what someone in Sydney makes, the cost of living, we are up there. So it's quite expensive. So I spend at the farmers markets anywhere from $250 to $270 up to $350, but it tends to sit around $300. I had gone through a stage where I've got a lot of coconut water as well. I do believe it's higher because I'm getting like 7 bunches of celery. I'm getting like 7 or 8 kilos of cucumbers. That's all juice. So we're talking about me. You could cut back so much of that if I didn't juice, but here we are. And Kiko's like, that's not that expensive. And what you have to know here is, when I do go out with friends or I speak to people who go out for a dinner out and drop $80 on a bottle of wine, $300 on a dinner out. I've only just started doing my hair again and makeup. I could not afford that at the start. So you really, and my nails, you really have to work out your priority at the start. But if you cut all those things out, I know I was spending less. Like how much all this stuff costs is at the start. If you cut all that out, you got plenty of money for food. I don't know if most women use makeup and moisturizers. I got rid of all, just coconut oil, and my hair was rosemary, or this rosemary and apple cider vinegar rinse for years. So when you think about how much all of the extras cost, if you get rid of that and put it in food, I still think you're ahead. Plus you get your health. Plus when I went at the start, I also had private health insurance because I needed that because I was always in hospital, and I've let go of that. That was like $250 a month. So
Wow.
like, it might've been more. It's expensive. So maybe every 2 weeks. It's really expensive. So it's all about getting in the mindset. And I, to be honest, would, if need be, I will just, and my apartment's quite small, but I will share with somebody to make sure I get my food. Like, my food is literally life. I know I do recipes and stuff. They're literally based on what's in my fridge. You guys have seen my Friday ones. I don't buy anything. You guys get to see what's left over and what I make. And it's just a practice thing. But yeah, I've gone on a lot here, but I just want to reiterate it when I started. So what's that? $50 every 3. It was like $150 a week on food at the start, which seemed huge to me. Like, you can buy noodles for like $2 and have them for a couple of meals. But now we're getting into like trying to heal myself. As I said, I cut out everything. And that was like my only cost. But then I knew it would get me better and you can spend more. So Yeah, I would say on average anywhere from 300 to 350, possibly more a week. But I don't go out. I don't really buy clothes. I don't really go to the movies. My days I love to be out running or at the beach. Like my whole life shifted. So that's and it's I feel so good. Anyway, okay, I've gone on. What about you, Kiko?
No, that's fantastic. I feel exactly the same. And, I don't question much when I go groceries, and, what makes me feel so happy looking at fruits and vibrant color of greens, and, things in season makes me feel so good looking at it. So I don't question much on how much I spend. But when I do go out, and say if I need to buy, let's say, socks, uh, I fix my socks over and over. I don't like buying new things
Yeah.
except what I consume. So, kid you not, I question over 100 times if it's necessary to buy that. So yeah, like socks, like and t-shirts, like I always sew, and it's like this one I wear, like this is like 30 years old or something. It's
Yeah.
it's those are something not important to me, and what goes into my body is like instant gratification. I feel so good. I feel
Yeah.
good just looking at it, and then consuming it. I feel great again. And then, the throughout the day, and that's just the investment for the day, the week to come, the years to come. And also the mood is completely different when I eat this way. So yeah, again, we are doing raw vegan lifestyle is definitely quite different. We are definitely a minority everywhere we go. No matter where you go, we are a minority. So buying a melon of $5 might be expensive to someone who goes to Starbucks every day and spend
Yeah.
$10 easily, not questioning, because that's accepted in society, right? So we have to put it
Easy.
into perspective.
Like, so even before you start saying that people, even if they plan to make their lunch, still a couple times a week they will buy lunch, plus they'll get takeaway once or twice a week, plus maybe go out on the weekend. Before you even get to that point, is if you buy a coffee in Sydney every day, it is about $6 around this area, possibly more depending on the milk that you choose and the size you choose. So what's that, 7 days a week? That's already $42. Remember at the start, I was saying I was spending just around that much for 3 days worth of food. I wasn't drinking coffee. That's just coffee. But people usually a couple times a week will get a muffin or a croissant, and they're expensive from a cafe. And then, maybe late afternoon, sometimes during the week, they'll grab another one. Like there's all amounts that add up. Or, maybe they pick the kids up from training and they'll drive through takeaway to get a couple things before dinner, or it's funny how if you actually look at it, I still believe that raw works out better. Plus, you don't injure yourself as much, you don't get as sick, so you don't need as much healthcare. But what's really interesting is what people probably don't know is a lot of the makeup that I actually wear was gifted to me, and or companies have asked me to try moisturizers and stuff. And as it runs out, I'm not concerned about getting more. I'm like, I just use like the general one. Like the way my brain will spend all my money on coconuts and fresh food, but it literally finds any way not to buy anything else. I will like go, I need new clothes. Like I wear the same clothes often on camera and I'll be like, but I won't go do it. Whereas like I find like the lifestyle I had before, I know I was in bed a lot, but before I got to that point, my whole life was consumed by consuming. Like when can I go to a takeaway? There's a new restaurant, there's a new Wendy's shake out, there's a new mobile out. I need that. I need Dingles thingos off my mobile. I need a designer bag. I need, my life now is about how do I not buy the dead, which is basically like, dust or wood or something recreated,
Mm.
and becomes clutter. But how do I buy the living to make me like living, meaning the raw foods, to make me more living. Like my brain,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't even think this is so much as a conscious choice as it's part of the evolution of going on this lifestyle.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel whenever I go grocery shopping, I feel this recently I have this phrase coming into my head, which is, yes, I deserve it. I deserve better. I deserve better.
Love
Yes,
that.
I deserve it. So, when I see like strawberries in really good quality, and maybe before I would have said, oh, that's too expensive, because that's what kept, people kept saying to me, is
Yeah.
like, wow, you buy strawberries in this price, or some Japanese people don't eat any fruits at all for, days after days, and they don't even question. They just want what's available easily. And that, yeah, they might shock on my fruits grocery spending, but yeah,
And you
I feel like
coffee, right? So
I'm
like
sorry.
they may be going the fruit's too expensive and getting like loaf of bread, maybe some like chicken nuggets or whatever. But then they're so exhausted, they're leaving and grabbing a coffee, and then they've got a headache and they need to spend money at the doctor's, and then they need to spend money getting a script. Whereas it would have been what I worked out when I healed myself, when you become awakened and enlightened, is it's cheaper, more pleasant to just buy the strawberries. Like you
Mm,
won't need the coffee, you won't need the doctor, you won't need the prescription, you won't need the cost of the tablets. You'll
yeah.
just feel good.
Yeah, and again, I understand where people are, this, some people are scared of, oh my God, if I want to be healthy and I want to eat more raw vegan food, but maybe it's not, uh, maybe it's not within my reach in terms of financial. I can understand it, um, but you um, you have to look into again, like how much are you spending in a day, in a week, in a month. Like, is there something that you don't need, or it's not contributing to your overall health? And I realized later that I was spending a lot less money being on this lifestyle.
Mm.
And people are finding it difficult that, I really don't spend that much money in a month, because they see me eating a lot of fruits and vegetable. And if I can get organic stuff, I would. And they think that I'm rich, then I can spend. And it's true, I'm in a comfortable place, but you don't really need to be in a comfortable space of you don't have to be rich to start this lifestyle.
It's kind of like this place of fear, because in reality, like I am in an apartment and there is probably a space around the corner where I could grow some food. But it could be even to the point where, is there somebody you know? Because I know my mum's friend used to grow food for me, who's happy to have a tomato tree out the back for you. Have a
Mhm.
couple of people, and over time it will grow. And I also think it's like it's kind of like self-destructive, where people are like, I'm going to go raw, and then they're like, oh, but I've got to get the dehydrator, I've ordered it, and I've ordered the Vitamix, and I've ordered the juicer, and I've ordered, and I'm like, that stuff is going to keep you locked up. You just start where you are. You can maybe afford some bananas, and you have a blender, so you're going to make nice cream 3 mornings a week, and that's where you start. And you start to notice you feel better, and you don't need maybe as much coffee, or you're just feeling more energized and believe in yourself more to get some frozen berries. And then for afternoon tea, you're having, I don't know, frozen berries and chia pudding. And I really think a huge part of this raw journey is spiritual. And you can't jump to like enlightenment or being more spiritual. You have to grow through it. You have to grow. It's like a plant. It grows. It's sometimes a bit
Mhm.
gnarly, sometimes, and then it has seasons and blooms, and then it kind of dies, and it grows some more. You have to be that. And the only way to do that is to start where you're at. And to be honest, if I didn't notice that the cooked foods were tolerable, as in like I couldn't tolerate anything, if my body did, I probably would have sat there for a bit, a bit of raw food, a bit of cooked food. That's all fine. It's all about feeling your best while you're on earth, having the best experience while you're here. And I must say, when I first started this journey and I wasn't connected to anybody, I had all these donated things. I think 3 pairs of shoes, a couple pairs of pants, very little, I think maybe a couple plates. My life was like easy. And I had come into this world thinking that the more you consume, the happier you'll be. The more flights and the more designer things, and they're the happy people. And things like Instagram promote that. But in truth, now that I've got more stuff and you have to care for it, you have to wash more, you have to look after more things break down, so you've got to fix more. When you don't have much and your focus is just being outside, grounded, getting sunlight, being in nature and eating foods that make you feel good, your whole perception on reality changes, and you realize where you want to invest your time and your energy. But in saying that, there is cheap foods. When I go to the supermarket, there's always fruits on sale. But also, as I said, is if you don't have a garden or even a little strip to start planting stuff, is you can just ask your family, your parents, your sister, your brother, cousins, if they will have a couple lettuce trees in their backyard, and a neighbor. If there's a will, there's a way.
Definitely. Yeah. I have a small garden in my house, and I'm planting mint, and I have quite a few herbs, and mint is amazing. I have mint all year round, and you can actually find mint easily. And in the beginning, I was also reaching out to farmers in my neighbors, and I will talk to them, and I would ask them, is there anything they can share? And they're so happy to share. Most, I just pay very little, and they're happy to share their what they grow, and they usually use a lot less pesticides, if not completely organic. Uh, and you can also do like volunteer at some nearby farmer's place, and they'll be so happy that they will give you some of the.
That's a great idea, actually. Like on a
Mhm.
Saturday when the farmers market's open, is just asked to be paid in like fruit and vegetables, because that's like a lot less for them, a huge less for them, than it would be to pay you. Also, Apple a Day has said here, one way to save money is by sprouting and growing microgreens. Plus, growing some of my food warms my heart. I love sprouting, and anytime you eat something like homegrown, it's on a different level. Like it's not the same. But that is another one. I know. Is it Chris? Is it Chris? I can't think. Someone Evans? Is that? Anyway, he's in the Sprout guy, and it's really cheap. Like it's really really cheap. I know I buy a huge bag of lentils, and those lentils for like $7 or $8, and that's from like a health food shop, which is not like even a cheap type shop. And I've got lentils, you could live off them. That, get some bananas, a couple avocados, some chia seeds, sprout your chia seeds, make chia pudding. Yeah.
Yeah, Doug Evans, I think.
Doug Evans. Sorry, I was going to call him Chris Evans. Doug Evans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many ways to make it fun, and it's lovely that, yeah, the sprouting is so easy. Anyone can do it, in the tiniest apartment. You don't need a space, but you can just step out and ask for uh, ask to see if they need some help for free. And that's, even if you don't get the vegetable or fruits back, it's a great way to connect to nature. And you just feel so good when you are going through some challenges. The nature is the best place, that the best place to be aligned and uplift you. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It definitely is. And you're what you do changes. So I don't want to on the weekends be in a cafe or a restaurant or a movie cinema. I want to be outside, or I really enjoy in winter, like making some of my like 3 ingredient bread or one of my recipes and just relaxing, maybe reading a bit. Um, Very simple. You are full of so much joy on this lifestyle. So you don't need to do much. You get the joy from the melons and the
Mm,
strawberries and the sprouts. So you don't need to be stimulated by like a ton of consumerism, or like be like,
mm,
now I need a new TV, or now I need to renovate this or that. It's all those things kind of like, well, they'll come if they're meant to come, but getting you
mm,
right is so important on this journey. Like
mm,
it's like not how I was on the diet I was eating before was literally like trying to keep my head above water by me and the government and any family members, everyone's spending money to just keep my head afloat. And then you do this and you can keep yourself afloat. So it's like for me, it's like a
mm.
no-brainer.
Yeah, I was on. I just shared on my Instagram this morning about the one of the work that I do. I work as a guide and interpreter, and I just finished the 3 days intensive guide where I take my clients everywhere in Kyoto, and it's really demanding job, but it's beautiful. I love it. This is part of my hobby, but a driver who noticed how I eat. And I don't eat with my clients because they eat whatever in a restaurant. And um, they usually, if I want to eat with them, they pay for my lunch. And sometimes they do choose like luxurious, like high-end restaurants, but it's not to my need. So I always bring my food, cherry pudding, or hand wrapped salad. And the driver was noticing how I eat, and he was like asking a lot of questions because he was saying, Miwa-san, my last name, Miwa-san, oh my God, you radiate, health. You were like full of energy, you're so vibrant, how do you do this? And he was asking a lot of questions on how I eat. And yeah, it's meanwhile my clients buying like junk food here and there, and of course they're coming from far, so they want to experience something from Japan, but they're like sluggish and they need caffeine,
Yeah.
constantly, and they're buying matcha and tea, they're always looking for caffeine.
Yeah.
And like all I bring is just filtered water from home. I don't buy bottled water, so that's less spending again. And yeah, and I cannot imagine eating just like anyone else is eating and do having my lifestyle right now, because my mood, as much as my health, like being energetic and being with client all day long, or doing what I love on this raw vegan lifestyle, my mood is also very important, right? Like how I eat changes how I feel. So
Mm.
it's so important. So, and budget, of course, certain period of my time, I had to budget myself on how I eat. But uh, I always say, I deserve better and you deserve better, right?
Yeah, you all deserve better. And the happiest person on that tour, obviously, the bus driver noticed, was you. It wasn't the
Mhm.
people eating at the high end restaurant who are then eating chips and then eating caffeine and eating a matcha and eating then tea. And then it goes on. And then, it's you. To, to be, I think I also noticed this when I was healing, is to be happy with a glass of water and some fruit and salad. Isn't that the dream? Isn't don't we all wish to just be able to sit in a free space and feel the universe, but be content with simplicity? And when you are, life becomes a dream. Like you're happy all the time. You don't need a whole lot of things to make you happy. So it's like hugely changing mindset. But I would suggest to people who, a lot of people will find ways to not go raw. So the one
Mm,
thing that I remember hearing was when I said, everyone's like, you're out, you're up, you're healed. And I'm like, yeah, I eat a raw diet. And the first thing everyone's like, I can't do that because I don't like this. Like people find a reason not to do it. But one of the big ones was, I can't do it. I've got a family. How would I afford to do it for the whole family? You don't have to do it for your whole family. There's got to be a leader. You can't make your kids, especially in this world, they have to want it. Maybe they want to do whole food, plant-based. They have to find their own way, unless you've just had a child and you get to, at the start. But you do you. You're only worrying about you. You can't change like 4, 3, 2 other people's minds. Is you have to start. And as I said, is that my suggestion is don't go in and buy like all these tools. I started with a chopping board, a vegetable peeler, and a knife. And that was probably the happiest time of my life. It's you're exploring flavors and combinations and chopping it up. And there's an appreciation for the food and the work that you
mm,
do. But really start with where you're at. As I said, is if you have some favorite foods from when I was just talking to Jen before this, about if we like, and it's true, when I was younger, my favorite foods were grapes, watermelons, and apples. To this day, they still are some of my favorite foods. And start with those ones. Don't think you have to buy 10 kilos, like I mentioned before, is just buy an extra bag for the week. And I still think you have to do foods that you enjoy. It's not, if you don't like bananas and bananas are cheap, don't go buy bananas. You're better off to buy foods that you like, that feel good. It's all about feeling good. If you start feeling guilty, you're buying so much and you feel guilty, pull back a bit. Let that feeling inside of you guide you.
mm,
And use a bit of overcoming fears. I remember when I was first well and I was up and I would be buying the food, there would be this fear that I had to push through because it would be so much money. I had to keep reminding myself of what this food was going to do. But it's like, I feel like it's like the universe teaching us what is possible when we
mm,
believe in ourselves as well.
mm. Yeah, exactly. Again, the message that I have for people listening is you deserve better. So start with little, everyone's journey is so different. Be gentle, but remind yourself that you deserve better. Skye deserve this beautiful green juice. I
Yeah.
deserve my water with citrus, and again, this is a podcast, women's podcast, and I do think women all over the world, we are sort of trained to think of others first, right? So we are always thinking of, oh, what should I prepare for my baby, or what should I prepare for my husband? What should I prepare for, colleague? And it's just we are constantly thinking about others, and even for myself, I'm going through this still, that I tend to put others first. But if we are not nourished ourselves, then I cannot serve better. If I'm not in a good mood or health, I cannot, give pour the love and undivided attention to people. So it's so important for me to eat well and,
Mm.
fill up with this vibrant fruits and vegetable, and also be I have to be careful, or I have to keep in mind that everything or every bite counts. So no cheat day. I think Lisa was saying that I don't have any cheat day, but I have treat days.
Yep. And that's I think a huge, that excites me so much, is like when I get in my kitchen and I get to create my perfect flavor. Like I know all the raw flavors. So I get to or you can have a look in other people's recipe books, and get inspiration, have a look online. And then you might want more chili or something more sweet. And that to me excites me more than any takeaway ever could. Like, because, and then you feel so accomplished, and then you've also learnt something as well. But you mentioned how women push through, like we learn. And even if I was never like a mother, and I still remember is most of the things or the reasons I got out of bed when I was sick and I would take extra medication to get up was so someone else I thought would feel more comfortable because I was there. But how I reframed that was, if you come from a broken, burnt out space, that's the only energy you give. Do you want to imprint that on children? Do you want to imprint that on your friends? You're better off pulling back for a few months and saying no, or doing things as simply as possible, asking for some help while you find you. And then imagine giving the world you. Like, because it's like, I mean, look at my situation. No fold to tenfold. I can give people love, podcasts, recipes, excitement, joy. I give all that to myself, and then I give all that to other people. Is if I got up here and I was coming from a broken place, I'd be like, poor me. How did this happen to me? I don't even like to go into that space. But then everyone watching, that's all I imprint on them. I'm just breaking the world. So if you can love and build you, and but yeah, it will take time. Imagine then, just say you take 6 months off and get help with the family or whatever you're doing. And then imagine the next 30 years, you can give more love. You can give more peace. You can give more joy. Imagine what that gives to loved ones, yourself, and the world. And you can't change my mind on that. And it doesn't have to be 6 months off. I just say that because a lot of people, when they get to this lifestyle, are very, very unwell and burnt out and pushing through, breaking themselves and hurting others around them. But if you're in a space where you can still function, just start allocating your free time when you used to escape to finding yourself. So instead of escaping with caffeine or movies or late nights out or binge watching TV till 3 a.m, find goodness, because then when you leave that goodness, you give what you leave. If you watch 5 hours of a horror show, the next day you will talk to friends and people about the horror show. But if in 5 hours you did a walk, you cooked some yummy food for yourself, you had to lay down, you did a little bit of reading, that's what you talk about the next day. And people that do something similar, or the things in the world that match that, will meet you. So it's all about thinking what you want to give to yourself and the world.
Yeah, it's so interesting, this topic of, budget on raw vegan. We could cover so much, because again, all comes down to we deserve better. And of course, I understand there are people who are, struggling in this financial budget. Like yesterday, I took my client to this local supermarket because I wanted to find them ruby kiwi. Do you get that in Australia? Ruby. So you've got golden kiwi.
Oh yeah, kiwi. Yeah. We don't have ruby. Oh, we probably do. I've only seen golden.
That's interesting. So we get it from New Zealand. So three variation: green, yellow, and ruby kiwi. Those are rare. And when I share this, my clients is always asking, Kiko, can you share your favorite food here in Japan? And I always share, oh, the strawberries here in Japan are amazing. Oh, the kiwis. We do get the local rainbow color kiwis, but it's not in season. So I shared with my clients that the ruby kiwis from New Zealand we get is amazing. So anyway, I took them to local supermarkets, and I couldn't find them. So they were just strolling around, and they were asking questions on some lunchbox in the supermarket. And I was shocked how cheap it was. Like lunchbox for like $2-3 with rice and some side dishes that,
Oh
I mean,
wow.
you would be full with just $2-3. And you can imagine what they put in it, which
That's
just
it, and
two,
then
three
you
times.
imagine what you get out of it. So imagine you buy that, and then what you put in your body is what only your body can only give out from that. And even if it gives out and it makes you millions of dollars, eventually you'll have a heart attack or something. So, that's what you have to think about when you invest in food for like $2. That's
Right. Yeah,
looks good.
it's always deep fried, and they've got a lot of they spray a lot so that it doesn't go bad. And but it looks the same, right? It looks good. And I know when I used to work from 9 to 6 kind of work, 9 to 6 jobs in Tokyo, those are the kind of lunchbox that my colleagues were eating. And I mean, no judgment here, but people look so sluggish and tired after lunch, and they're so, cluttered, and they're depressed. And again, no judgment. It's not like I've gone through the same path before, but keep in mind, you deserve better, right? You
Yeah.
deserve better of this kind of vibrant fruits that are widely available anywhere you go. You have fruits and vegetable. And actually, when I was on a 6 months Mediterranean trip, right when I became raw vegan. I did this 6 months back. I traveled around Europe for 6 months, and all I had was just a petty knife, spoon, and chopstick. And I was just buy, fruits in season. I was just cut it open and I just scoop it. And, that's how I live off for 6 months as a high raw vegan. So you could, you don't have to have a blender or smoothies.
No. And what I will say is, what makes it easier if you can only get, say, lettuce, tomatoes, almonds, bananas, sesame seeds, and that's kind of it, just say that's all you can afford or get, is you'll cope a lot better the more time you spend outside. If I'm outside and grounded and connected to nature, I don't really care what I eat. It's like the universe singing. I'm singing. I'm just in gratitude that I'm well, that I get to put food like that in my body. But in saying that, is my suggestion to people is, I healed myself with non-organic fruit and vegetables just from a supermarket, and we have fruit shops here in Australia, which are just little fruit stall things. And I would just get, they're not organic. I would just get, or you can just get what is cheap. Like, there's especially things like places like Woolworths, which are a shopping center, they've got produce each week, which is cheap. And you can get frozen berries. And as I said, that could be just lettuce, bananas, chia seeds. Just your journey just starts out different to other people's. You don't want to get into a point where usually people who make this choice are already feeling terrible. You don't want to let yourself get to a point where it's so terrible you could have afforded a little bit more with where you're at, a little bit more comfortable with where you're at now. But then sometimes some of us have to be forced into like rock bottom. It's all a bit of a journey, but I do believe if you've got to the point of your life where you feel you need raw foods, spend time finding at supermarkets what suits your budget, that makes you feel comfortable, not too expensive, but not, so cheap. And notice how over time you become better at doing it. You've got to start. This is why I say start with where you're at, even if it's a couple of raw meals a week, is you get better. You end up not seeing all the other things in a shopping center. Or when you're out, you don't see all the processed things, you just see the fresh stuff. And you get better at picking and talking to people. But you have to start. You can't sit there going, when I make this amount of money or when I get this sick, I'll do it. You've just got to start and let it unfold.
Yeah, definitely. And, again, remind yourself, be gentle. Everyone's journey is so different. And, yes, take one step at a time. And again, when you feel like, oh, I'm so tired, I just want to, eat the whole bag of chips, or, I don't know, conventional chocolate out there, or croissant or whatever. And, you just remind yourself that you deserve better. You deserve better than croissant. You deserve not eating that dead animal. You deserve not eating, not consuming, what you might not be proud of next day. You know,
Mm,
would you feed that to your baby? Would you feed that to your best friend who is going through tough time? Here, just eat banana instead of chips.
mm,
Eat, maybe I went through some period. I had this huge cravings of chips, and later I realized that maybe I was lacking of magnesium.
yeah.
So yeah, what I started doing was I just had almonds with some sea salt,
Yep.
and yeah, you have to be careful with nuts because it's difficult to digest. So crush it if you can, or eat really, chew it really well, and that cravings goes away over time.
And
So
also, I mean, sorry, I used when I if I crave chips or something like that, I just cut up a whole lot of raw veggies and put salt on them. Or if like it's like a
Mhm,
chocolate, but then afterwards I don't feel sluggish or tired or like crap or depressed. I feel good and energized. Or
mhm,
if I want a chocolate, I did let go of chocolate for a while. If you can't have carob, I used to just get dates and put a nut in it, and that seemed to satisfy that sort of craving. I mean, you can have cacao or carob, but like I just used that.
mhm.
There's like I feel like for every reason you tell me you can't do it, there's a reason you can do it. Having a
Yes.
banana smoothie with some chia or hemp seed and some berries in it. That's a breakfast right there. It doesn't
Mhm,
have to be complex. And a lot of people think, the banana smoothie needed yogurt and milk. Well, you're getting the creaminess from the seed. That's essentially what the
mhm,
milk is. And you don't need yogurt. Trust me, the extra banana in there.
mhm,
And it tastes good, but afterwards you feel good. I remember
mhm,
Cara Brotman was saying that there was a whole lot of workmen over and she was creating one of her raw dishes, and she said, "Oh, do you guys want someone?" And all the workmen said, "No, no, 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 we don't eat on the job because you get too tired. We've got bloody people working and they can't eat because they get so fatigued." And she obviously said, "This is raw." I don't think they believed her. I don't know what happened, but she's like, if you eat
mhm,
raw food, you don't get that fatigue. Um,
mhm,
energized, you feel alive, and you then want to do things as well. Like
mhm,
you don't feel like you just want to leave work and go watch television. You want to leave work and go for a walk or a run or play tennis, or you
mhm.
know, you get to live life.
Yeah, it might be far reach because I mean, Skye, you have been on a fully raw vegan journey for 4 years, and you shared, where you started from, and it might sound easy, speaking now from if you were to ask Skye 4 years ago, she would have been completely different, right? And people might say, "Oh, it's easy for Skye," whatever the reason. And then for me as well, I've been on this journey for over 20 years. And, a lot of people comment that it's easy for you. But no, we had our own journey, and you can't compare our journey to yours. And again, you deserve better. Be the best friend of yourself, and give and feed yourself with the best food that you want to give to your best friend, right? um, it's the constant reminder that matters. Again, for me nowadays, I still have to remind myself, yes, I deserve better. I deserve better to take moment and drink water when I need to. It's just, we need to stop prioritizing others, because we cannot serve others if we just forget of ourselves.
And let's go back to when we start the raw journey. And I've said this before in different ways in different podcasts, is the strength I used to eat the raw diet, to make that choice at rock bottom every day to not put anything but raw inside me. I was like a superhero. To me, I am a superhero. The reason I can do podcasts and I can get up and do recipes and I have this self belief is because of what I did back then. Like don't take away that when you look into a shop and you see chips and chocolate and you zombie out just like everyone walking past you, straight to the same thing, straight to the same thing, straight to the same thing. The strength it takes for you to walk up and pick fresh produce when the rest of the world, like it's so many people we're talking about such a minority, has a beyond strength to say no to the norm.
Mm.
What you can do with that superpower is exponential. If you keep believing in yourself over what billions of people are doing every day, where is there a limit? Like that's where the strength lies, is in everything you do from there. Because you are basically, as I said, is there's a complete fabric of reality which you've been in, or you are in, or you've come from, and to leave that reality is where you have to find the strength, because the raw food tastes incredible, you feel incredible, but you're going to be pulled back into that old fabric. Every chance you leave your house, you turn on the television, you have an old thought, you tap something and a memory comes up. The reason you become a superhero and have a strength to live your dream life is because you have a strength to remove yourself from the fabric. And that's what it's all about, is, you go up to the bananas and you see the price and then you think, I can get a 10-pack of $2 noodles. And it's the strength you build and the trust you have in nature and the universe and yourself that you say, no, I'm worth it. I'm worth it, because it's not just about the taste or even just healing the disease. It will be about your entire life. Your entire life will change if you can feed yourself food which makes you feel good.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, what else is the message? Again, be gentle. You deserve it, and no cheat day, but treat days every day. And you know, I over the 20 years of my raw vegan journey, there's so many moments that I might not be proud of what I have eaten, or the mental state, and it's that's why every bite counts, because when you do this one cheat day, if you're not strong enough, it just goes spiral down.
But you can reframe it, right? Like, you just say you want a chocolate sundae. You can literally make like ice cream. You can get banana and ice cream with some cashews and blend that up. You can get some carob or cacao and mix it with dates and make a chocolate sauce. And if you need support, I've said this before, is they don't have to be raw. You get plant-based friends, vegan friends that have, they're going to enjoy it just as much. And if you can't meet them in person, do it online. But you have to do it. Like, it will grow. It's never going to always be as hard as when you first do it. But the strength it takes to start will be the strength you use to stay. So
Yeah.
I say shift your treats, like shift them. I love thinking. I think Liz is a bit like this too, is how do I make it raw? How do I make it raw? Because then you feel good.
Yeah, this is a very easy time to be raw vegan. I do believe, because like 20 years ago, I couldn't connect. It wasn't so easy to connect with people from all over the world. Now with TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, there's so many raw vegan community, and this is free. You can listen to our podcast. There's so many style of raw vegan. You might be surprised that how we eat is so different from one raw vegan to another. And just find the person that you feel connected to, you resonate, and just shower yourself with this information, because we are definitely minority. We are easily accessible, but we are still minority. So you can listen to this podcast, or you can go to purchase a book and read, and what you consume on a daily basis becomes you. It's not just food. What you hear, what you listen, it all becomes part of you. So I know that Skye is very conscious on what you listen to or how you feel every day. That all counts to our holistic life.
Yes. But also, when I don't want everyone thinking that like all I do is listen to like uplifting podcasts and high frequent, like high vibe music, is a lot of the time I will go back and watch shows which are of darker nature. But usually I ask myself, I don't punish myself. I ask myself why, and usually I'm trying to reconnect with some part of myself from the past, and I allow that. But usually it doesn't last very long, because usually things aren't. You're not as numb. So when I watch something I think I want to watch that I used to watch, like I can't think what it's called now, Fringe. It was like this TV series where everything's like on the edge and out there, and sometimes it's pretty gruely. Is I'm not numb. So everything's so intense. And I'm like, I don't want to watch this. So then I usually move back over to watching something uplifting. But usually if I go back to something, I'm usually trying to find part of myself. Even like as I've said, when I put my hormone replacement back on, it helped with my memory. Not just the estrogen does help with neurotransmitters, but also there's part of me that was, well, obviously always had estrogen, but then after the hormone, I had my hysterectomy, I was on estrogen for 10 years, and then I lost my memory, and then I had it taken off. So I always look at, if I go back, I've kind of diverged here, but if I do something which someone might say that's harmful or not good for you, I look at why I'm doing it, because I think if you do that, you stop yourself going, you're bad, you're bad, and you're bad, and get negative self-talk. You want to go, usually it's like, I'm going off here, but someone says to me, they want an ex-boyfriend back, or they want a boyfriend, or this is just an example. And what I say to them is, who were you when you were with this person? Or it might be they're not friends with someone anymore, and they're like, I really miss them, but they're not nice to me. They didn't treat me nice. Who were you? Because usually it's usually you're not wanting so much them back. It's they brought out something in you, or a boyfriend will bring something out in you. And you can find that all in yourself. I know I've gone off here, but it's so I'm just saying, if we want something tangible, why? Like, what part of ourselves are we trying to bring back? Because every time, and even if I can't connect to it at that time, eventually it's like a denial thing. Eventually, when I find that piece of myself again, and I think it's, once again, I lost a huge part of my memory and self, is when it comes back, I'm like, there you are. I had it in me. I could get through. So yeah, I've gone off. That's a whole nother podcast right there.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, just like how we eat, and we have to, ask ourselves, how do we feel? It's a whole process of looking at the fruits. Do I want to consume this? And then after that, how do I feel? The same
Yes.
thing with the relationship. I feel
Yeah.
it's when I discover raw vegan, I feel like, oh, there is a food that loves me back. Because
Yes.
before, I used to love like fondant au chocolat, like decadent chocolate, and it's like full of milk and sugar and oil, lots of oil as well. And I might get really excited before eating it, but after eating it, I feel so sluggish, and I blame myself. Why did I eat this? Why did I spend money on this? And then why? And
Yep.
now I know how to create it in raw vegan version, with lots of dates, with cacao or
Yep.
carob, and all the things that's amazing for my body. And I get excited creating it. And also I get excited after eating it. I feel so good.
Yep.
And the same thing with the relationship. Especially before going raw vegan, I had a very toxic relationship. And I kept excusing them. I said, oh, they're just going through the phase. It's okay. And I just ended up disrespecting myself of allowing those people into my life. It's the same thing with food to me. You know, yeah, I want to eat chips because I have cravings, like, like toxic relationship with food. And same people who might excite me for certain thing, but they might disrespect me on my, disrespect my way of living, or disrespect me for whatever the reason. And it's not okay. You shouldn't allow that to happen over and over.
Yeah, it's what you said is pick the food that loves you back. Like that's the choice we're making. Is there's no better word than that. Is when you discover that something can love you back, you'll make those choices in your life. You won't have a boyfriend that you, well, I could say eat, but like have, and then makes you feel like crap afterwards. That's what the food does. So you mimic that in your whole life, or have friends that at the time make you feel good, but then after you don't feel great. Is if you pick the food and put it inside you that loves you, when you choose it, when you eat it, and then afterwards, is you'll create that same pattern. And that's a good enough reason to eat high raw, choose raw, buy raw, spend extra on raw, so that you start teaching your body, your mind, and your soul that you're only going to pick things that love you back.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So I've seen there's apple a day. Hey, JJ came in. Jen came in. She said interesting and great message, Kiko. So thanks, guys. It's been
Yeah, thank
amazing.
you.
And we'll be back next week. So thanks, Kiko.
Oh, thank you, Skye. And yeah, this is one way of us sharing love of raw vegan lifestyle. There's so many things, so many ways to um, have this lifestyle of being vibrant and being in a good mood, so that we can share and inspire others. So yeah, we appreciate your comments, and maybe some topic that you're interested. We appreciate your feedback on that.
For sure. And there's just, I saw Marina's just, I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
She said, it all makes sense. And I agree. My anxiety and being alone sometimes have me eat something slightly unhealthier, maybe a healthy processed bar, and then the guilt surrounds me. You are right. We all know deep down what is best, healthy live foods, which I predominantly eat. Mostly raw, but some cooked food occasionally. And I think, like, I was talking about this with Jen earlier, is like the healthy processed bar that you eat, probably to a version of you not long ago would have been really, really healthy. And I think that's what you have to, usually I believe that when we go back to have something like that, we're trying to look for part of ourselves. So don't be too hard on yourself. And I think we can learn from it, right?
Yeah, so much. I mean, I think what I thought was the mistake is the biggest teacher, and the biggest,
Yes.
the best way for me to learn. You know, if I haven't gone through that dark period of time, then I would not have appreciated where I am, right? I like now I can enjoy every moment, every day, because I know I was bedridden before.
Yeah.
I know how I felt when I ate junk food, so definitely embrace your journey. I mean, every part of our journey is so beautiful.
It is. And yeah, we learn from it. So
Mm.
thanks, guys. Thanks, Marina.
Thank
And
you.
we will see you next week.
Next week. Yeah,
Bye,
exciting.
guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you, Scott.